All right, coming to you live from New York City. Glad to have you back. It's great to be here, as always, on Sports Talk Radio MMA for this week's Fight Eval. Last week's matchups were as I expected, with Justin Gaethje having a dominant win over his opponent and good friend Donald Cowboy Cerrone. After the matchup, Justin Gaethje called out the winner of Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson. Will Justin Gaethje get the title match he's seeking, or will the UFC place another opponent ahead of his much anticipated title match? We will soon find out. But until then, without further ado, today's matchup, UFC 243, a pay-per-view event only on ESPN Plus, happening October 5th, 2019, taking place in Melbourne, Australia at the Marvel Stadium. It's Robert the Reaper Whittaker versus Israel the StyleBender Adesanya. Robert the Reaper Whittaker, 28 years of age, hailing from Sydney, Australia, standing at 5 foot 11 inches, weighing 185 pounds, fighting out of the PMA Super Martial Arts Association in the middleweight division. His record is 20-4, 20 wins, 4 losses. He's on a 9-fight win streak in the UFC. For those of you that don't know, the Reaper defeated Yoel Romero for the interim championship belt in July 2017. Later on that year, George St. Pierre vacated his middleweight championship belt, and later the UFC promoted the Reaper to becoming the undisputed middleweight champion. The very next year, he defended that title against Yoel Romero, beating him for the second time and officially signing and sealing his place as the official undisputed middleweight champion of the world. What can I say about the champion? He's a brutal striker. He has excellent takedown defense, standing at 84%. Although he seems like a brawler, his strikes are very calculated, averaging about 5 significant strikes per minute, making him extremely dangerous, no matter if he's stepping backward or moving forward. He's fought and beaten just about everyone Israel Adesanya has beaten, with the exception of Kelvin Gastelum. But I think 2 fights with Yoel Romero more than makes up for it. I don't see this fight lasting very long, even though I would love to see, and I'm sure the fans would too, a 5-round war like Adesanya had with Kevin Gastelum. It will be no cakewalk for the champion when he faces the challenger, Israel the StyleBender Adesanya, 30 years of age, hailing from Nigeria, standing at 6 foot 4 inches, weighing 185 pounds, fighting out of City Kickboxing in the middleweight division. His record is 17-0. He's on a 6-fight win streak in the UFC and remains undefeated in his professional MMA career. This is his longest break in between fighting since 2013, where he took 2 years off. Since then, he's been fighting a new opponent every 3 months, with his current gap since beating Kelvin Gastelum earlier this year, back in April, being 6 months. He's taken twice the time off to prepare for this fight than he normally does or has been for the last 4 years. Israel Adesanya definitely realizes the magnitude of this fight. The Reaper was a 3-1 favorite versus Kelvin Gastelum, and we all see the punishment Israel Adesanya endured. Being that Kelvin Gastelum was such a tough opponent for Israel Adesanya, it's hard to say if he's going to be able to put up such a great performance against Robert the Reaper Whittaker. Let's face it, Kelvin Gastelum was the hardest fight in Israel Adesanya's entire career.
He's the toughest son of a bitch I ever met.
That was his toughest fight ever. No one's ever done that to him. Took him to all 5 rounds, put the bruising on his face like that, the swelling that he had after that match. Nobody has done that to him. Kelvin Gastelum did that to him, and he almost beat him in that match, but he didn't. So all hats off to Israel Adesanya. But he's gonna have a problem if he meets the Robert Whittaker that's healthy and has no repercussions from this surgery he just got. If there are no repercussions from this surgery and he meets the Robert Whittaker that fought Yoel Romero, he's gonna have a bad night. I didn't have Kelvin Gastelum beating Robert Whittaker, and I don't think the StyleBender could do it either. So if he makes it happen, hats off to him. I would definitely say he's one of the greatest middleweights ever, but he's gonna have to pull off a miracle to beat Robert Whittaker at Robert Whittaker's best. Will Israel the StyleBender Adesanya channel his 7 chakras and run circles around his opponent to become the new UFC middleweight champion of the world? Or will the champion Robert Whittaker bring the hooded scythe holder to the door of Adesanya's undefeated MMA career and let him know once and for all, you might be a king, you might be a dreamer, but sooner or later everyone dances with the Reaper. We will soon find out. Go ahead and make your picks and leave them in the comment section below. I got my pick, the Reaper. Don't forget to make yours. Thanks for listening. Like, follow, and subscribe. And we'll see you on Fight Night at the Marvel Stadium in Melbourne, Australia. I'm Roman Reigns, and this has been your UFC 243 pre-fight commentary. Robert the Reaper Whittaker versus Israel the StyleBender Adesanya on Sports Talk Radio MMA for this week's Fight Eval. For your next matchup breakdown, you don't have to wait, because it's starting right now.